All right, what's going on? We're out here at that little complex that I quoted a few weeks ago after my knee surgery there. And what we are doing here, just to recap, is just the vinyl siding. So as you can see, kind of through the trees, and then here, this side has a decent amount of vinyl, but a lot of the building is brick as you go back through here. So it's gonna be a nice job. I think we're gonna whip right through here. Some obstacles, some vegetation and different rock gardens and stuff in the way. It's gonna slow us down a little bit, but I think we'll be in and out of here in a day or two. So we'll get right to it. We're gonna start here on this side here. It's really not too dirty. Running a low mix. We're gonna hit up through here and be moving right along. Build up some pressure here. Just trying to prime. It's been took the last week off. There we go. Now we're getting there. Had a little air in the line. One thing I'd like to talk about real quick while we're doing some washing is what to expect on your first job. A lot of you guys kind of ask me some questions like that. To be brutally honest, your first job is probably gonna suck. I know my first job was an absolute nightmare, and I'll tell you why. I showed up. I was not using a 12-volt pump at the time. I had just started. I was actually, my first few jobs, I was actually downstreaming, but not the downstreaming that you see guys using here. It was just like a little drop stick into a bucket. It was a cheap little pressure washer. I was using a pressure washer gun and lance, and I didn't have nothing except for like the red and green and yellow tips. So I was downstreaming, but it sucked. It wasn't real downstreaming, and I quickly kind of gave up on that. I guess I actually did have a 12-volt pump, because the next part of why the first job sucked is I guess I switched over to the 12-volt pump, and I had a wand that I had incorrectly built at from PVC at Home Depot. I just didn't really know what I was doing at the time, and I built it way too big. I didn't have like the proper fittings, and on the very first house wash, it blew up in my hands. Chlorine all over the ground. It was just a nightmare. Like nothing, you can't expect anything like that to go right on your first time, because you've never done it. That is when you guys are going to find out how good your setup is, how tight your fittings are. I had fittings break on so many jobs in the beginning because I wasn't using the right fittings. It's really important to get as much metal off of your system. As I say this, but I only switched it to that metal recently because I was breaking all the plastic. But as almost everything else that you can get to change to PVC, I've done. This gun was all PVC, but like I said, I mean, I just drop it too much and kind of rough with it a little bit. But your stuff is going to break, and it's going to break on your first job, it's going to break on your second job, it's going to break on your third job, and then the more you do it, it's going to get easier and easier and easier. But your expectations really shouldn't be going out and killing your first job. Who knows, maybe you'll have a better get-go than I did, but that's really where you're going to learn. I know a lot of you guys are all over YouTube watching videos, just soaking up as much information as you can, but the truth is that none of that is really going to matter until you actually put your boots on the ground and try it out in a real scenario. So I just wanted to touch on that for a minute, because I get a lot of comments about that stuff, and best thing I can do is be honest. I didn't have a good go on my first couple rips, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, here we are, a year and a half later, and it's going well, you know. Got a couple complexes and did a bunch of residential this year. It gets easier. It gets easier, and just because you might have a rough go in the beginning and your equipment might break down and someone might not like your pricing, you just got to get past that. Your first jobs don't mean squat. I lost a lot of jobs in the beginning, pricing too high, trying to figure out the market. But we're still here. You know, you take some stuff personal, right? It's kind of hard not to. We're human beings. You lose out on your first couple bids because you bid too high. There's nothing else you can do except for kind of just beat yourself up, right? That's typically what we do. But then the phone rings again, and it rings again, and it rings again, and that first, second, third, fourth job that you lost due to pricing so high, you replaced it with proper bids, good jobs, and then 2-3 months later you forgot that you missed out on a couple opportunities because you priced it like a jerk. But that's all part of the game. You gotta do that stuff. You gotta get out there and just try it, test the waters, and it's really the only way to figure it out. So I just want to touch on that. I've been meaning to make kind of a little video on it and just let you guys know that you really shouldn't beat yourself up about going out on your first jobs. No one's oh, that was actually the first time that I had been called back for windows. I guess I left the windows looking real shoddy, but then you learn from that. And I've never been called back for windows since that very first one, because it really bothered me. It really bothered me. Guy was really nice, paid me really well, accepted the quote that I gave him, had nothing but nice things to say about the work. He didn't see me mess up all over the place and all my equipment fall apart, but he would have understood, I'm sure. And it just is what it is. Yeah, we're gonna be zipping right in and out of here, I think. That last complex wash that I did, if you guys had seen that one, it took me about 2 hours per big building. Maybe it was like 2.5. I mean, it really took a lot of time. And again, it's because I have to screw around with the extra hoses. I'm still trying to figure out. I had plans to like get a little bit of a downstream setup going this year. Just been getting really good advice from some of the other guys here on YouTube and seeing their equipment. Again, I mean, your business needs to be fluid. This is the first setup that I bought, the first one I built. I built a 12-volt system. I upgraded to a 12-volt system, and that's just where it is now. But right now, like, the business is growing, and I really want to possibly expand my capabilities and get a downstream option here. I'm not going to get rid of the 12-volt because, again, it's good for roofs. I'm still trying to figure out the whole downstreaming thing with the percentage of Kim on here. If I want 5%, I get 5%. If I want 6%, I get 6%. So if I was to show up to a really dirty building, and I see some guys get like 1 to 2%, maybe I would show up, and if it was really dirty, like some of the stuff, like the 2 complexes that I watched before this, some of those videos, I mean, the stuff was like black. Like maybe you hit that with the 12-volt and just kind of take care of that section, and then just rock out the rest of the building downstream. I don't know, you know, you gotta figure that stuff out. But it's fluid, right? Our businesses are fluid, and we're growing, and information is constantly changing. So you really want to We're gonna fly right through here, already ready to rent. It's like half this building done. But like I say, like next year though, it'd be nice to have a downstream option, because then I can cut this time in half. But I'm just not convinced that it's great for everything. There's so many good things about running a 12-volt system. The only thing that I don't like about it is the rinsing. The amount of chem that comes out of here in this flow, I think is more than enough. But on the same side with the rinsing, it's not enough to rinse. So, you know, leave your opinion. You guys can help me figure this out. I'm pretty sure that I am going to add to this rig here. But I know there's a lot of cons, I think, that come with downstreaming as well. This is very, very low maintenance. Nothing ever goes wrong here. The only thing that I have to replace are these pumps. This one I put on here May 18th. Put this on at May 18th, and it's just running like a charm. It's the best pump that I've ever bought. It's a FlowJet. Before May 18th, I probably went through at least six Everflow pumps. I don't know why. I rinse them. You guys see my little rinse setup. I've had that. That was kind of new for this, but I always rinse the pumps beforehand. It just was a little trickier before I had this little add-on. This pump is great. This hose I've been using for a season and a half now. Firm. It's there's no issues with it. I drag it. I get it covered in chlorine. It's just low maintenance. So I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. But the point is that you don't need to know everything. You really don't need to know anything. Just get out there and do it, and then you will learn. And then you will figure stuff out. But I know you guys watch my videos and other people's videos, and you probably think, man, this guy's got it figured out. And it's like a day at a time. It's a day at a time. You know what I mean? It looks like we got it all figured out, because when I post videos, I have it all figured out. You know? Before the video started, I might not have, just worked my way through it. But I think that's kind of the biggest, setback for some of you guys, is that you want to have all the answers right away. You really don't need to. Just because you break some equipment, or you don't have the right equipment right away, or you don't do a good job on your first job, doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. It just means do a little bit better on the next time. Learn from your mistakes. I have a feeling there's a kink over here somewhere. So what I'm finding out is that the way that all these buildings are kind of like intertwined, I guess they're just really close together and kind of all over the place. It's easy to do two buildings at once, at least when you get to like these sides. So back around this corner to the left, we're kenned on just this like one little strip of vinyl, like right here where these windows are. Oh, sorry, where these windows are. There's one in the back and then one on the far side, just like here. It's hard to tell from this angle, but all of this is brick in here. And there's this little vinyl slip, and then on the very far end there's another vinyl slip. So I got this whole piece around to the back to this vinyl strip. We've already come around this building. This is also kenned to here, so we're going to go around and rinse the back of the building. And it's just it's a little wonky, but it's the most efficient, instead of just doing this building and then just doing this building. I mean, like, we're right here in between them with all my stuff stretched out already, so we'll play that game for a little bit. But we are moving pretty fast here. I might be out of here a lot sooner than I thought. Won't be done today. Won't be done today, I don't think. It's kind of killing my OCD, not going after some of this brick, not going after some of this trim. But the property group wanted the vinyl quoted. The property group wanted the vinyl washed. That's what they're going to get. Okay, we're here. This is day 2. We've already done a couple washes. They're all relatively clean. Like I was saying yesterday, we started back on that building. There's one behind this building. We did this building. We did that building and this building. We only have these 2 left. So far, this is the only one that's actually dirty. Well, that's not true, but this is the only one that's like got like actual mold and algae on it. If you see like this area where it's green, and then right up here where it's just like dingy, that's what most of the buildings are, in between these 2 green sections. This is like the only green and black that we come across. So I guess I'll get a little bit of that melting away. Pretty dirty in some spots. The trim is awful, but I don't want that taken care of. So I actually we quoted this for a week. This is day 2. I think we're going to be done with both of these in just a little bit, and then we got to do the fronts of these carports, and that's it. So I do have a residential appointment that I got to do later, so we might just finish up this building and that building, and then come down here for an hour or 2 tomorrow and do all these. If I get done faster than I thought over here, then we're just gonna rip right down this row and get these taken care of. And I think there's one little carport behind this building here, but just hustling, moving, minimal breaks and stuff like that, and just trying to get through. And timeline's gonna be a little shorter than I thought, but hey, it's good for me, right? It's good business. Big paychecks in 2 and possibly 2.5 days. So let's set this up here. Let's get some of this off this building. Bada bing. If you think that your equipment isn't good enough to go out here and get big jobs like this, you're wrong. You need a pump, whether that's a cheap pressure washer, expensive pressure washer, 12 volt, 8 gallon a minute, 2.4 gallon a minute. The only thing that's going to change is just how long it takes. That's really it. If you're using a 5.5 gallon per minute 12 volt pump, You're gonna be a little quicker than if you're using 2.5. Just because you're using 2.5 gallon per minute pump doesn't mean you can't get out here. The only thing that I would really recommend is that you don't want to be batch mixing. That is like the only thing. Doesn't matter if you're downstreaming, 12 volting, doesn't matter if you are, again, what kind of pump you're using. That really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you have a 200-foot hose or 800 feet of hose. You really just don't want to be batch mixing. It's I've been going through probably a couple 100 gallons of water a day, I'd say, using their hose, and then even just flowing from my chem tank. I fill up this tank multiple times a day. We are down about halfway here, and then I've used my water side a little bit back here. I just didn't want to connect to the spigot. It's nice having the options. We're about halfway down here. These tanks have been filled multiple times today. The reason that you don't want to batch mix is because you're going through a lot of water, and then the meter on the other side, this is the water side, but on the other side, the chem meter is just pulling a little bit of SH as it flows a lot of water. If you are batch mixing, your chlorine is in here, your bleach is in this water tank. So if I use half a tank of water from my chem side to mix with the SH to get it on the siding, well, then half of your batch mix is gone. Half of your batch mix is gone after that. So if you're batch mixing and you don't live close to the job site, you might be going home and filling up multiple times. If you can get away from batch mixing right away, that's what you want to do. I started batch mixing and it was awful. I had to carry around, I used to carry around like yellow jugs of chlorine in the truck just so I could top off. You really don't want to be doing that. This little piece is like 600 bucks. It's a drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket if you're trying to get in. That's like one job, one roof job, something like that. And then you need 2 tanks, right? You need one for the water and one for your SH. If you're gonna have soap, then you need 3. But that's like really the only limiting thing. Everything else is just gonna determine how much time. Okay, if you have, one of my biggest issues here is my hose. I only have about 200 feet. I'm not set up for commercial stuff. This is only the 3rd one I've done. But going forward, if I plan on taking jobs like this, I'm going to have to upgrade. I have to carry more hose. What I have to do is park here, go halfway around, do as much of this building as I can, and then I'll have to go over there and do some. So that's one thing I want to update. Talk a few times about downstreaming. Downstreaming would be really great for something like this. But again, this setup is fine. It's just going to take me a little bit longer, and if you have less of a setup than this, it's going to take you a little bit longer. But it doesn't mean you can't do it. You just have to be realistic with your quoting and your time frames. You guys can all get out here and get jobs like these. It's just going to depend on how much you move. So let me keep rinsing here. I want to keep moving. As far as washing this place goes, there's a lot of negative things I could say about how these are laid out. A lot of obstacles compared to the other 2 properties that I've done. Tons of block walls. I had to use a ladder on the other side of the property today, just get on top of a block wall to wash a section. There's a lot of vegetation. There's a lot of rock gardens that are hard to walk on, drag your hoses on. One thing that I can say that's been very helpful is you can basically do 2 halves, if not more, of a building at once. So I've already washed some brick over here. It's not really on the ticket, but I'm going to start cleaning a little bit of that. We've already rinsed this one, or I'm sorry, we've already SH'd this area here. We're going to do this. I'm not ready to get there yet, and I didn't want to have it dripping over the door. Doesn't look like this building is in use right now. It's their clubhouse. Looks pretty dark in there, but I'll wait to spray that when I get there. I also just noticed that massive beehive up there. I don't know if that's active or not. I'm not a pest control guy, so I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm not gonna try to knock it down. The SH hits it, the SH hits it, B's come out, B's come out. I'm not here for that, so I don't really care. But we're gonna finish rinsing this section. We just gotta do here, and then we're gonna move on. This section is where I started. This was the first section I did, wrapped all my hose around the back, and now we're over to here. We're gonna clean this. There's no more vinyl back here, so we just need to do this section, then we'll wrap around. This is our last building, and then this is that one carport that's over here. What's really nice about getting in with property groups like this is that they have lots of money, even if they don't spend it all at once. Like, this place is actually known for being pretty stingy. They're good with their money. That's why they're so successful, and they break up their projects in pieces, which is, you know, they gave me the whole smorgasbord over at that last property. It was the brick, it was the vinyl, it was windows, trim, and everything. Here it's just the vinyl, so I have a feeling we'll be back. But you get in with guys like this, look at all this. You got a pool deck that could seriously use a pressure wash, or even just a little SH. All this concrete, it's hard to tell, but these railings, moldy. All this is just mold. You could soft wash this whole thing. So if you get in with a group and you do a good job, you might not be doing it all at once, but you might be staying busy with these guys over and over. I mean, pressure washing, if you were to come in here with a pressure washer, every block wall in here is dirty. Look at this sidewalk. This is all stuff that I'll be pitching. I might be working here the next 5 years, just doing a little job at a time. You never know. But it's nice to get in somewhere and build relationships. You know, these businesses and these complexes, these property groups, they have budgets just like everyone else, but these are massive investments that want to be maintained. So you just got to put yourself in a position to do a little piece of it every once in a while. All right, I'm going to finish. I just got to rinse this section over here. Look at this trim. Like, it's killing me to not be doing this trim. The other property, it was even worse than this. This stuff will come off. I just did a job the other day. It was, the trim was actually completely black. You got to use a decent amount of SH on that, 4, 5, 6%. The problem with cleaning it at the last complex that I was at, and the same issue with here. I mean, they didn't ask me to do it, so I'm not going to do it. But they don't have, they don't really have, like, this place is a little bit more set up to handle the SH, but it's the balcony. So if you start running 4, 5, 6%, here there's not as many balconies as the other place. The other place, there's a lot of balconies. Almost on every single unit had a balcony, and you know, it's very hard to get in touch and coordinate with people. You can't wash up here if that one cleans off their balcony and this one doesn't, right? So then you have to skip that section. Then you can maybe do the peak, and then over here both people leave stuff on their balcony, so you can't do that. It's very difficult. It's one thing to throw 1% up on some of these places and have it drip down on a balcony, but if someone comes outside and you're doing 4, 5, 6%, that can burn their skin. Some people have bleach allergies. If it gets in their eye, they're wondering what you're doing. I mean, you can have big problems. So on the last property there, a lot of it I just kind of left. I told them it was way too bad. I am going to pitch a couple roof cleans to them, but I'm only going to do it on a few buildings that have gutters. You can't be running 6% and just having it flow off of here. There's just too much. There's too much. You got to keep that stuff in mind. You don't want to start going out and pitching roof cleans in apartment complexes like this if they don't have the proper way to drop that stuff. Most of these buildings don't have gutters, and like this, you could roof clean and let all this fall off all day long, but this is such a small section of the property. You can't do it in most other places. It would just, it's a lot of liability. It's a lot of liability throwing this bleach around. You really got to be careful when you're in those high percentages. So it's killing me not to be doing it, but at the same time, one, they didn't ask for it, and two, it's you know, it's a lot. In here it's not an issue, but you go over these balconies and by the doorways and the walkways, most of the people in these places, not all of them, but most of them are elderly and they're curious. They've never seen this stuff before. They also have medical conditions. You don't want to be throwing high percentage SH around here if you don't have to. had to retreat a couple sections there. We'll let that dwell before we continue rinsing. Just hit this again. I'm using a very, very light percentage, not expecting all of this to come off. They didn't ask me to wash it, but it's just right here. Now I'm messing around waiting for some other stuff, so might as well hit it. It's nice to do things for free for people, right? It's not really taking much time. Like I said, I'm waiting for other stuff to dwell, using a low percentage of SH. So some spots like that thick stuff takes a little bit longer, but every time you do something for free, you know, you might get a smile or, you know, a nice gesture from someone, but there's a cost to every drop of SH that comes out of your tank. Every single drop, there's a cost. If you don't think that that's true, well, good luck to you, because there is. The only thing that keeps you in business is watching your money. You run out of money, you run out of business, right? I could easily go around here and say, oh, I'm just going to clean all this brick. Why not? By the end of the day, if you watch your numbers, you'll be spending a few $100. You do that at someone's house. They didn't ask you to do the gutters, but I'm already up here doing the roof and do these gutters. You know, well, it's time. I'm slowing you down to your next job. You know, we're running businesses, we're not running charities, so it's always good to do some stuff like that. But just keep in mind, you know, you don't want to get overboard. I have a friend, when I was starting, he ran a different business. He did some plowing and carpentry stuff and painting, really good painter, and that's what he did. But that was his advice to me when I started. He did a lot of stuff for free. If they needed an extra can of paint, he would go out and get it and not bill them, because he thought it was his fault, that maybe he underestimated, and he did that time and time again, and he no longer works for himself. That was the first thing that he told me when he found out that I was getting in business. So just passing that along. It's nice to be generous. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do a couple things. Like, look at these railings. You know what I mean? It's a couple $100 job right there. This patio. All kinds of stuff. All right, I'm gonna put some SH on that. I haven't seen anything coming out of it. Doesn't look like it's ever been sprayed before. It doesn't look damaged, but it's, you know, we're getting into cool weather. I don't know much about bees, but don't they fly to Florida or something? I don't see anything coming out of it. I didn't hit it directly with SH, and I'm not going to. Kind of back to what I was saying is, I'm here to clean the siding. I'm not a maintenance guy here. I'm not the grounds crew. Some people say, oh, there's a bee's nest up here, and there's a bird's nest, and there's spider webs. Well, that's a maintenance item. The price that I'm billing these guys, they would be pissed if they found that I was out here dicking around with bees nests, and if I was standing here getting all of the pine needles off these buildings. There's a lot of places where I clean the mold off the building, and there might be debris from the tree and stuff, but I'm not going to sit around and get that off, because the next time the wind blows, it's going right back up there. And if I tell these guys that I'm billing them to sit here and throw water at pine needles, I don't think they'd like that. At a residence, that's different. You go to someone's house, they're going to come out, they're going to want it to be nice and clean. They're paying you to get that siding clean. These guys want these buildings maintained. They want to stretch their investment. So you gotta think smart when you're out doing this stuff. I'm not going to sit here and put my ladder up and get that bee's nest out. I'm not going to sit around here and get that leaf out of that crevice over there. It's a maintenance item. They want that gone, they can get that gone. I'm here to get the mold off the siding because I have the equipment for it and their group does not. So I want to keep all that kind of stuff in mind. You get hired to do something, you do it. You want to do a little extra, that's fine, but don't be out here killing yourself on stuff that's just, I don't care, you know. That's not what they're paying me for. Now we got to wash this section. We got a window open right there, so we can do our best to stay away from it, under it. All right, we just came up the stairs from right here. We're gonna run this section. I got my other hose popping off our tank. We're over there. I think at that point we're gonna move. We're just gonna do this section. I don't want to run hoses. There's sidewalks and cars. We're just gonna move the truck down here. We're just gonna do this section real quick and move on. At one point, one of you guys commented on one of my videos, and there was probably a video about downstreaming versus the soft wash, or one of you guys were telling me that I needed downstream, and you said something about like the stream coming out of the soft wash wand. It's like a stream of piss. That's all I can think about every time I use this now. I think it's funny. I actually think it's really good. I think it's really good for applying chem. I don't, you know, you're controlled, you're not going all over the place, you can get it to where you want it to go. But when it does come to rinsing, it is awful. It is awful. There's no doubt about that. I think it's really, I like the flow. The 5.5 gallon stream or the fan is absolutely fantastic. for applying the chem, but when you try to wrench it the same way, that's no good. That's where like the setback is. Like, I'm having a really tough time because there's so many things that I like about the 12 volt, and there's so many things that I don't know about downstreaming. So I continue to bring it up, and I continue to hope that you guys can continue to leave comments. The only reason that I'm considering switching to downstreaming is because of what guys that have other channels, and then you guys that watch these channels have said. I'm here trying to teach you guys what I know, and I'm soaking up what you guys are teaching me. It's just, there's a lot of things that I love about the 12 volt, but what most people like about downstreaming is the rinsing. It's what everyone says. It seems to be the big thing. All right, let me get cleaned up here. Move around a little bit. For those of you who might be wondering about SH usage while I'm here, again, just to recap, you've seen all these buildings. I'm only doing the vinyl. Some buildings are still out of vinyl, and there's still things that aren't done yet that I have to do. Backside of this building and these carports. When I started this week, yesterday, Monday, it might be hard to tell. You can see the 100. That hash mark is 90, right? Kind of like right there. Okay, that's where I started. It wasn't full, but it was at 90. You can almost see the yellow line right about here. It's 60. You're a little bit above that. So 30 gallons on this complex so far. I also did a it's not a commercial stuff like this. It was a commercial building. It's a storefront. It's pretty big. That video was probably posted before this one. It was a green building. It was the one that had the really black trim that I brushed off. That took a lot. I had that probably sitting around 4% for most of that building, so that took a beating on a little bit here. But 30 gallons over this whole complex so far, and that one residential commercial. When I think commercial, I think of this stuff. It's basically like a big house, that place, but it is a commercial building. So I don't think that's too bad. I get $220 gallons, I think it is. 220 gallons for like $800. So you can do the math on that. But each tank is typically around $200. So, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what I bid this place at, but I'm going to get out of here on definitely on less than $200 of chem. I'm not going to go through this tank. I'm almost done. So my expenses for this place was a little bit of fuel. This is about an hour away from me. I came down yesterday and today. Truck's not great on gas, but 60 bucks, 70 bucks. And it's not that much, I don't think. And then not even $200 in SH. I'll use a little bit more, but I'm not going to use 60 gallons here. That's for sure. So the margins are fantastic. You just got to be able to get in and get out, and then it's your time. It's your time. One thing to keep in mind when bidding, I kind of found out, I never really thought of it this way, but one of the property managers at the other property had told me how I got this job. I gave him a bid. It was a nice cushiony bid, you know, and they turned it down right away. It was in the 5 figures, and they said, nope, not doing it. This property group is very good with their money. And then they went and did the math on what it was going to cost and the time that it was going to cost for their maintenance guys to do it, on hourly benefits, all that stuff. And of course the equipment that they have, which is a pressure washer, they don't have this setup. They ran the numbers on that 3 months later, because I gave that quote back, and I want to say like maybe March or April. I think it was either right when the season started or before it had even started. And then I was there in August, middle of August, and I was there a few weeks after they approved it. They ran at one point, they were like, no, these guys aren't going to do it. I guess the maintenance guys told them that they weren't going to do it. It's a lot. It's a lot to do this kind of stuff, especially if you're not using the right equipment. And they ran the numbers on what it was going to cost. I'm in and out of here in less than 2 days. If I have to, I mean, I'm way ahead of schedule, so I'm messing around, and I'm not really in a rush here, but I might be out of here today. It would take these guys most likely 3 weeks, because they have other things to do. They don't have a wash crew. They still have to change the light bulbs and unclog the toilets and paint and mow and everything else. I mean, so keep that in mind. If you guys are going to quote a commercial property, think to yourself, all right, well, they got guys on payroll. What do you think it's going to cost them? Blah, 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 blah. And then you can figure that out and give them a time frame and say, well, this is what's going to cost me, and I'm going to do it in 5 days. Just my 2 cents. Seems to work. Seems to help. Okay, here we are. This is the last section that we have to do at this property, at this complex, minus this carport and that row of carports I showed you before. This is the back side of the building. We were over here on the porch a little while ago, messing with the beehive and talking about the pool deck and stuff. So just so you guys can see where we are. Came through, did all this vinyl, all this in through here. We're just gonna get this green off of here. I think we're gonna call it for the day. Still got plenty of daylight left, but I'm gonna take a little break before the residential one I have, and then we'll be back here tomorrow, probably less than a half day, and then get this all finished up. right, I think that'll just about do it. I've got the 2 tanks and I've only been using the chem side, so I mean it's 50 gallons in each. You know, it doesn't, the sloshing isn't that noticeable, if noticeable at all, but I do like to I like to have them topped off when I leave, when I hit the highway and stuff like that. And then when I get to the next job, it's ready to go. So we're gonna top this off and we out. Okay, what do you say we finish up this project today? Shouldn't take long. I'm gonna start here and run down this row all the way out to the street. We're gonna be doing the doors, the bottom of this brick's got the chem turned up a little bit just so we can get in and out of here. Brush the gutter lines off a little bit, a little SH. And there's some of these sections have moss. We're not gonna be doing any removal, but we did quote them to just kind of spray some on there and just kill it. Get my hoses. My tanks are full of water. My hoses are stretched over and the reels are locked, so I got just enough to throw in the truck. Now I'm just gonna spray, rinse, move down a little bit, spray, rinse, move down a little bit, spray, move, spray, rinse, move down a little bit. And we'll have to top off the tanks, you know, if we have to, but I think we can get down the stretch depending on how much rinsing it takes. So there are spigots all the way along here, so I just got to run a stretch line and fill up if we need to, but we're just gonna move right along here. I just heard the air go through, so now I got the stronger chem. I'm gonna go back here and hit this one more time. All right, time to get some water in here. We're down to probably about 10 gallons left, maybe. So I got my stretch line running under the truck, run across the lot into a spigot over there. So these things are not that good except for this purpose. You don't really get enough flow. You can't run a pressure washer off of it, nothing like that. But they are great for I think it shrinks up to like 10 or 15 feet, but it'll stretch out to like 80. So it's nice, it's light and easy to move around. All right, well, we're still filling up, taking a little break. Before we get going here, let's look at this SH. So yesterday, at one point during the day, we had talked about SH. I think we were like right around 60. I think we were a little above. Since yesterday, we went and did a house wash, patio wash. We have gone through this whole complex, just the vinyl, but you know, some buildings have a significant amount. The buildings go all the way back there. They start over here. Here's one here on the back side of the truck that I'm hooked up to. There's one back here, one here. You can see like the side of this building is all vinyl. So there's a decent amount of washing here. We just have a little bit left to go. This really isn't using that much SH, but when I started the project on Monday, today's Wednesday, we were at 90. So we're still barely, like right in the middle of this number is 60. Here's 55. So let's see. Monday we did a commercial wash, pretty big one, hot chem. You'll see that video. Yesterday, I feel like I did something yesterday. Yes, yesterday we had a house wash as well, and then today we had the house wash that I talked about, and we got a roof wash later. But I think I'm going to get through this whole project and then a couple other ones on 30 gallons. So not much has come out of the tank, and the only thing that you can attribute that to is this right here. Control. Exactly what you want. Exactly what you want is what you get. 30 gallons on this place. And again, I think I said yesterday that a full tank is close to about 200 bucks, right? So it's good margins. I usually don't eat during the day. Just I'll snack, bring like an apple or a protein bar, simply because I feel like I work better on an empty stomach. I don't like being bogged down, and it's kind of like primal, right? You gotta work for your food. But there's a Burger King like right over here, and for the last 3 days you smell it. Like you can tell that they're cooking. It's just like the wind is bringing it over here. Ooh, it is so tempting, man. So tempting. I'm the kind of guy I like to wait till I get home and then gorge. And I'll sit on the couch, know that I know the day is done. But that smell of the king over there is really We're about 55. I think earlier I said that hash mark under the 60 was 55. It's actually 50. So right now, here, I'll show you. There's that hash mark right here, right there. That's 50. I think I said that was 55. So we're kind of right in between that 60 and that's 60 and 50 there. So not bad. We're done with the SH for now. So we're not using any more here today. We got a roof wash to go to. I'm sure that'll drop us down a little bit, but I'm really happy with the usage that we had here. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. This gable end. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Always carry extra parts. We're just wrapping up here, trying to get out of here. That gun has been through the ringer. I'm not even upset that it broke. It's not gonna last forever, but we're getting here in our trusty toolbox. Two of them waiting. That's why I switched almost everything else on there to metal, brass specifically. It probably could have been a stainless, but they didn't have it at the time, and I just didn't really care. It's fine. You can grab it. Turn my ball valve so the hose don't empty out. You have to go through a lot of these. You have to break a lot of things before you figure out. Doesn't look too bad in there, actually. It's not too much corrosion or gunk. I do not ever rinse this line. This line, I mean, at the end of the season I do. Sometimes on like weekends and stuff. But I do not rinse. Do not rinse my my chem line ever. Just the pump. I like to leave all that SH in there for the next job. I haven't had any problems. These this is a Curetech hose, stainless steel fittings. This is, let's see, I got this I think last July, right? So this has been pumping since last July, and again it gets rinsed out every once in a while. Junk. Dig through my junk box. Where's my goo? Right before I broke this thing, a lady walked up to me in the lot, Asked if I did residential. Gave her a card. That was kind of nice. She was just an aide that lives in here, or doesn't live in here. She works in here. Look at that. See how simple it is? If I didn't have this, my day would be done. Because you can't find these at Home Depot. Would have been all screwed up. I had to go to another job. Actually, I wouldn't have been all screwed up. I would have had to run chem through my water line, which is what this whole system is about. It's meant to be it's a dual blend, right? So, but I like to use just one side as water. Get this in there nice and tight, and that's it. If you don't have stuff, you're screwed. That took less than 5 minutes. Still got one left. Let's go. We'll rinse all that SH out of the pump. We're good to rock and roll. Head to our roof wash. Be done for the day. I say done for the day. It'll probably be 4 or 5 o'clock by the time I'm done. But all right, that's it. We're all cleaned up.